learners, welcome to the Growth Mindset Project, your go-to place for mastering your learning with a growth mindset. Today we are going to take a look at, let's get on the right layer, at extended multiplication facts. Okay. Extended multiplication facts. And before we get into that, let's just talk a little bit about multiplication to begin with. So if we think about our multiplication, for example, like 2 times 3, we know that there's a couple ways for us to think about this. The first way is for us to think about what this multiplication sign means, okay? And it really kind of means groups of. So 2 times 3, you can think about that as 2 groups of 3. And if we were to draw out 2 groups of 3, we would get an answer of 6. Here's one group. Here's a second group. And if we put 2 groups of 3, so we need to put 3 inside each one, we can see that when we count them, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's one way, kind of thinking of our multiplication operation sign as groups of. The other way that we know how to do it is through repeated addition. So we know 2 times 3 equals 6. It's really just 3 repeated 2 times. So it's really 3 plus 3. And we know that 3 plus 3 is 6. If you don't know that, take some time to look at this, rewind, watch the video again, practice some of your multiplication until you get a little bit more comfortable with it. So that's our basic multiplication, okay? We're going to move on to something today which is called extended multiplication. And extended multiplication looks like this. So if I had 2 times 3 again, as we did previously, we know that's 6, right? But what about if we extended this fact? And when we say extended, we just mean make it bigger. So the easiest way for us to make it bigger is to add a 0. Okay, it's to add a 0. So now we no longer have 2 times 3. We have 2 times 30. And I want you to think about, how can I solve this problem? What is a rule that I can come up with? What is a rule that I notice when I look at this problem? Well, there's something that should stick out to you. The thing that should stick out to you is that you still have 2 times 3. Okay? Well, we know what 2 times 3 is. We know that 2 times 3 is 6. And our rule, when we have this extra 0, is we're simply going to count how many zeros we have and add that to our product. So if we look right here, well, how many zeros do we have? We have 1 0. Okay, so I'm going to add I'm going to add 1 0, excuse me, right here. So 2 times 30 is 60, and you can double check that if you want. You can do repeated addition. Well, we know 30 plus 30 is 60. You could also do 2 groups of 30. That would get a little bit tedious though. If you count, you had to put 30 dots, dot, 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 dot. We don't want to have to do this every time, especially when we start getting into bigger numbers. That's why we want to know this rule. We want to know our extended multiplication facts. And we can extend this out even further. Okay? What if we had 2 times 300? Oh, now we're getting to a really, really big number. Well, it's the same process. Look at that. We still have 2 times 3. Well, 2 times 3 is 6. And we said the rule was to count the zeros. So let's count the zeros. Well, here's 1, and here's 2. And we're going to add those zeros to the end of our product. Okay, so 2 times 300 is equal to 600. Now you might be asking yourself, okay, well, that's pretty easy when only one of the numbers has zeros in it. Well, what about if both numbers have zeros? Well, let's look at that real quick. I bet you can figure out, before we even start writing, what you would do if both numbers have zeros in them. Let's look at this number right here. Let's imagine we had 20 times 20. Let's keep it simple. 20 times 20. And we go, well, okay. So I know the rule is to multiply and count my zeros. So first, let's multiply. Okay? Let's multiply. I know 2 times 2. I know 2 times 2 is 4. Okay? And now I need to count my zeros. There's 1 0, and there's 2 zeros. So I need to add 2 zeros to the end of my number. So 20 times 20 is 400. And you can keep going. We could do, let's do 400 times, I don't know. Let's do 400 times 300. That's going to be a real big number. But that's okay, because we know our extended multiplication facts. We are going to take our numbers. Let's start. 4 times 3. Well, what is 4 times 3? Well, 4 times 3 is 12. Okay? 4 times 3 is 12. And now let's count our zeros. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I need to add 4 zeros to my product. So let's do it. 1, 2, 3, and 4, which gives us an answer of 120,000. Okay, 120,000. So what we're going to do now, if you need to, I want you to go replay this video before you go forward. Make sure you're really comfortable finding your extended multiplication facts and that you know how to do that. If you are comfortable with it, let's move forward. And I want you to pause the video right now. Pause the video, and I want you to solve these problems. 2 times 4 is, 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 40, well, 2 times 4 is 8 again, and 1 0, so 2 times 40 is 80. 20 times 40, well, 2 times 4 again is 8 with 2 zeros, 800. 5 times 5, well, 5 times 5 is 25. 50 times 5, well, 5 times 5 is 25 with 1 0, 250. 500 times 5, 5 times 5 is 25, with 2 zeros is 2,500. This is extended multiplication facts. Okay? Practice these until you are comfortable. You multiply. Step 1, multiply whole numbers. Let's make sure when we're talking, just so we are clear, not 0. So we're talking about numbers 1, 2, dot, dot, dot. Step number 2, count your zeros and add them to the end of your product. All right, good luck, learners. I will see you in the next video.